So I am sitting here at 2 a.m. with my third cup of coffee and my brain is absolutely fried, but I just have to talk about what just went down on General Hospital. I mean, seriously, you guys! I have been covering this show for years, and I am honestly a bit tired today, but I still care so much about these characters. I'm not even going to try to make this a polished column today, because I am just typing fast before my deadline hits, and I have so many feelings about Alexis Davis and this whole Marco Rios nightmare. Let's be real for a second. The writers have been pushing us to the absolute brink with this Jen Sidwell storyline and the Cold Fusion project and the stolen Huntington's meds. But what happened in Alexis's law office? That was next level dark. That was the kind of scene that makes you remember why you watch soap operas in the first place, even when they make you want to throw your remote at the television screen. And we all knew Marco was playing with fire. We knew it. Lucas Jones warned his boyfriend over and over again that he was putting a massive target on his back by stealing Britt Westbourne's medication doses from Sidwell's safe at Windermere. But Marco was so arrogant. He truly believed that being Jen Sidwell's son gave him some kind of invisible shield of armor that would protect him from a monster like Ross Cullum. What was he thinking? Who actually believes this is going to end well when you are dealing with a corrupt WSB director who has zero moral compass? Cullum is not a guy who waits for hard evidence. He is a guy who eliminates threats with extreme prejudice. And Marco was a threat. So let's break down that horrifying scene because my heart is still pounding just thinking about it. Alexis goes to her law office. She has Danny Morgan with her because they just came from his school basketball game. And by the way, can we just talk about how much trauma this poor kid has been through lately? His dad, Jason Morgan, is constantly on the run or getting arrested by Dante Falconeri in the gym parking lot, and now Danny has to walk into a literal bloodbath. Alexis opens the door to her office and makes this gruesome discovery. Marco is just lying there on the floor, bleeding out from a brutal knife attack. Cullum ambushed him. Cullum crept up on him with a knife behind his back and just slaughtered him right there among the legal briefs. But here is the kicker. Here is the part that had me screaming at my screen. Marco wasn't entirely gone yet. Before he takes his last breath, he manages to leave a dying declaration. He uses the absolute last ounce of his fading strength to reveal that Ross Cullum is the one who did this to him. Some of the spoilers hinted he might write a bloody C or Cullum on the legal file Alexis asked him to review, but the reality of Marco gasping out his killer's name to Alexis is just so much heavier. Alexis is kneeling there in the blood. She is absolutely horrified. She hears this dying confession, and she realizes in that exact split second that she is now holding a deadly secret that could bring down a massive underground empire. And you can see the panic in her eyes. Alexis is a smart woman. She knows the law, and she knows the criminal underworld because she has spent half her life defending mobsters or fighting them. But this is the WSB. This is Ross Cullum. This is a man who operates above the law and has federal resources at his fingertips. Alexis realizes that knowing this truth is a death sentence. If she goes straight to the PCPD, what is going to happen? Cullum will find out before the ink is even dry on her police statement. Cullum has eyes and ears everywhere, and she has Danny standing right there behind her. Danny saw the bloody scene. What if Cullum decides to take out Danny too just to be safe? So Alexis hesitates, and honestly I get it. Maybe I'm being too harsh on her for not immediately screaming the truth from the rooftops, but you guys have to put yourself in her shoes. She is terrified. She wants to protect Danny. She wants to figure out a safe way to expose Cullum without getting a bullet in her own head. But that hesitation, that tiny window of silence, that is going to be her downfall, because Cullum is like a shark smelling blood in the water. He is incredibly dangerous and he is incredibly smart. He quickly sniffs out the fact that Alexis was the one who found the body, and he starts putting the pieces together. He knows Marco wasn't instantly dead when he left him. He knows Marco could have talked. And now Cullum is plotting to silence Alexis forever. This is where the story gets so incredibly messy and stressful. Cullum is currently dealing with his own massive problems because right after he killed Marco, he went down to Pier 55 to destroy Britt's medication and attack Jason. And then Rocco Falconeri of all people shoots Cullum in the back to save Jason. Rocco! Dante and Lulu's teenage son is now a shooter. And now, Cullum is in GH Trauma 1 fighting for his life, while Lucas Jones, Marco's grieving boyfriend, is desperately trying to save the life of the man who just murdered the love of his life. I mean, the cruel irony of that is just peak General Hospital drama. But even from a hospital bed, or even if he manages to escape, Cullum is targeting Alexis. He has to. He cannot let her live with that information. He has already meticulously framed Sonny Corinthos for Marco's murder. Cullum set up this whole fake trail to make it look like Sonny took out Sidwell's son as some kind of mob retaliation. And it is working. Sidwell is completely devastated by the loss of Marco. He is mourning his son, and he is confiding in Ava Jerome, and he is vowing violent, bloody revenge against Sonny. Sidwell truly believes Sonny is the killer, so Cullum's frame job is absolutely perfect. The only loose end is Alexis Davis. If Alexis comes forward and says Marco told her Cullum did it, the whole frame job falls apart. Sonny goes free. Sidwell turns his vengeful wrath onto Cullum instead. The WSB comes crashing down on Cullum's head. So Cullum has a million reasons to want Alexis dead, and he is going to stop at nothing to make that happen. I am just sitting here, biting my nails, wondering how Alexis is going to survive this. She has been through so much. She finally got her law license back not that long ago. She is trying to be a stable guardian for Danny and Scout Quartermain. She is trying to get Willow Kane to drop that ridiculous restraining order so the kids can be together. And now she is in the crosshairs of a rogue federal agent who has already proven he will slaughter anyone who gets in his way. Let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger pattern here. General Hospital loves to put Alexis in these impossible situations where her morality clashes with her survival instincts. Remember when she was dealing with Julian Jerome? Remember when she was covering up crimes or getting dragged into mob wars? This feels different though. This feels so much more isolated and terrifying because Cullum represents the corrupt state. He isn't a mobster who plays by a certain code of honor. He is a dirty agent who uses government resources to cover up his cold fusion project and his murders. And what about Rick Lansing? Rick is stepping up to defend Sonny against these criminal charges related to Marco's death. Rick is trying so hard to prove to Elizabeth Baldwin that he is a changed man. He is taking on this massive case to save Sonny from a murder he didn't commit. But Rick doesn't know what Alexis knows. If Alexis tells Rick the truth, it puts Rick in danger too. The web just keeps getting wider and wider. Then you have Jocelyn Jacks. Jocelyn is out here playing detective, and she is actually having these major light bulb moments. She connects the dots about the stolen medication and Marco's death, and she figures out that Cullum is the real killer, and that he is framing Sonny. Jocelyn hates Sonny right now. She has been ranting for months about how Sonny needs to be brought to justice and thrown in prison. But does she want him to go down for a murder he didn't commit? Does she want to let a monster like Cullum walk free to kill again? Jocelyn is facing this huge moral dilemma of her own. If she exposes Cullum, she risks her own life. If she stays quiet, she lets an innocent man, well innocent of this specific crime anyway, take the fall. But Alexis is the one with the direct evidence. Alexis is the one who heard Marco's dying words, and I just can't stop thinking about how Cullum is going to come after her. Will he send a hitman to her house? Will he try to poison her? Will he threaten Danny or Christina or Molly to force Alexis to keep her mouth shut? Cullum is ruthless. We saw what he did to Marco. He didn't just kill him, he butchered him in a law office in broad daylight. Sometimes I second guess myself and think maybe I'm being too dramatic about this. Maybe the writers will give Alexis an easy out. Okay, that sounded ridiculous even as I typed it. When do the writers ever give Alexis an easy out? Never. They are going to drag this out and make her suffer and make us suffer right along with her. And let's talk about the fans on social media. Everyone is losing their minds over this. People are so worried about Danny being traumatized. People are furious that Lucas is going to have to find out that he was trying to save Marco's killer in the ER. And people are terrified for Alexis. She is holding a secret that could literally blow up Port Charles. I just keep picturing that moment in the office. The blood on the floor, Marco grabbing her hand, the desperate whisper, the realization washing over her face. It is great television, I will give them that. It is soapy and messy and stressful, and I am entirely here for it, but I am also just so exhausted by the constant anxiety this show gives me. So what happens next? Cullum is going to wake up in that hospital bed if Lucas actually manages to save him. Or maybe Cullum's people are already moving against Alexis. Alexis is going to be looking over her shoulder every single minute of every single day. She knows she is being hunted. She knows her hesitation made her a target. And she knows that if she makes one wrong move, it won't just be her life on the line, it will be Danny's life. It will be her daughter's lives. Honestly, I just want to give Alexis a hug and tell her to pack her bags and move to a private island somewhere until this all blows over. But we know she won't do that. She is going to stay and fight. Or at least she is going to try to survive. But Ross Cullum is not going to make it easy. He is a predator. And Alexis Davis is currently his favorite prey. We are in for a very, very bumpy ride, you guys. I just hope we all survive it.